I'm AgroBlaze96.
And I'm the Woodshed, and welcome to the AgroShed Podcast. What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the AgroShed Podcast. Joined here with me is none other than
AgroBlaze96.
And I'm the Woodshed. Welcome back, everybody. We are here today, episode 3. First of all, thank you guys for those of you who supported the first few episodes. We do greatly appreciate it. If you guys want to see more of us, we have our own individual YouTube channels. You're more than welcome to come check out either one of us. I will make AgroBlaze put the link to both our channels in the comment section.
You can find them in the description.
He'll put them in there. If not, he'll message me. I'm sure after he posts it. Shit, I forgot. Would you please do it for me?
They're already in there, fam. They've been in every episode.
Oh, I didn't even. I
Absolutely.
forgot about the first couple ones. I didn't even play it. Fantastic. So we're doing Call of Duty Zombies today. We did Call of Duty Episode 2. Very excited, right? We're doing zombies now specifically. Couple prefaces before we get too deep into it. First of all, let us know in the comment section who you think has nicer feet. First and most importantly, and if Zack keeps that in, it's going to get worse and worse throughout the next episodes. If he doesn't, I apologize for what you guys just missed.
Oh, we're keeping that. Don't worry.
Fantastic. It's going to get better. So at some point, you guys aren't going to hear that at the start, and you're going to know he cut whatever I said. You guys are going to know he had to cut whatever it was. So we're going into COD, right? We're going into COD Zombies specifically. I feel the need to preface. We're doing Treyarch Zombies games and maps almost exclusively.
Yep.
Infinity Ward gave it a go at some point. It ain't it, Chief. We called. I talked to him. He said, no way, we're not doing it. So we're going in, keep that in mind, right? I don't want to hear anything about extinction, about zombies, about...
I think we're saving ourselves and the viewers by just not getting into that.
Yeah, you might hear a touch about like Vanguard or something like that, but I mean, it's minuscule, right?
Sure,
it's
yeah.
It's Black Ops, it's World at War, it's that kind of stuff. Right?
Absolutely.
The good stuff, the hardcore stuff. So, first and most importantly, I want to get into what do you think was the best Call of Duty Zombies experience overall, well-rounded, not just singular map, the collection as a whole, as far as innovation goes, map selection, guns, even Easter eggs and stories. What do you think?
Okay, so there's probably a lot of nostalgia here for me, and I feel like I say that about something every episode, but it's so true as I've gotten older. I'm gonna say if I had to pick like the one that gave it the best experience for me was the original, was World at War. And I know that there are a lot of great Call of Duty Zombies maps, and there's a lot of cool things they've added, and I really enjoy some of the fun things that we've gotten over the years. But World at War as a whole brought the whole thing together for me. From playing, like Knocked, like the beginning map, and like, the wall glitches, and like having like a couple of rooms, and, like just like trying to camp in corners, and like, all the different nonsense. And then we got into the bigger maps where you could like train, and, like they added more perks as the game went on. And then, we got to Der Riese. And Der Riese was like the final installment of World at War that we really had. And I think that, Der Riese like introduced the first like wonder weapon in the Wonder Waffle. Well, we had the ray gun, I guess, in the original map, but like the Wonder Waffle or the Wunderwaffe or whatever it's called was like
Wunderbar.
There it is. Was the first like like real new thing, and like the perks and like they made a trainable map, in my opinion. Like we really got into like a map that you could train on consistently, buying Thompson ammo off the wall. So I'm gonna stick with World at War here. Brought the complete experience together and really brings it home for me.
So I do think nostalgia is blinding my other half here.
I don't disagree.
You know what? I don't. But you know what? That's fine. We're old. I get it, man. I want to say the same thing, but I don't think in good conscience I can. First of all, Wunderwaffe.
There it is.
Was introduced in Shinonuma. Remember, technically.
Okay.
But that was an awful map nobody wants to talk about.
So how about you?
Most complete. So here's the thing, right? My nostalgia does pull me towards early games, but it makes me want to say Black Ops 1.
Okay.
I am not going to say that.
Ooh, interesting.
I'm going to say Black Ops 3. Hear me out.
You don't have to make much of an argument, but go ahead.
So, Black Ops 3, I think a lot of people would say, especially just the average zombies fan, right?
Hmm.
That Black Ops 3 was very well rounded. There was a lot of easy maps. There was a lot of really cool innovations, wonder weapons, from bows and stuff like that to even remastering of the old maps.
Yep.
And honestly, Zombies Chronicles does it for me. So the fact I can get a little bit of new with a little bit of old at the same time,
It's a big
I, and I
draw. It's a big
and
draw.
I and I love Der Eisendrock. Fantastic with the bows. I absolutely love still sitting in the corner to this day with a lightning bow and just nothing being able to touch me. It feels like I'm playing Rivals all of a sudden. I'm going to sit right here and nothing can touch me. It's fun.
I think for a lot of people, it's not just you. I think I definitely have the more unpopular opinion here. I think that Black Ops 3 is what most people consider like the pinnacle when we peaked, when it was as good as it got. So I definitely think I have to argue more here than you do. I think a lot of people would agree with you that Black Ops 3 was a great zombies game. And I by no means dislike Black Ops 3 zombies. Yeah. That was kind of my phase where I was like kind of out of games. I was trying to figure out my professional life and I wasn't playing as often anymore.
Yeah.
So anyway.
I understand. And part of me wants to say Black Ops 1, right? Because Kino was a very nice map that basically should have been... Oh, he's going to hate me later. We're going to talk bad about Kino later.
Jesus, here we go.
So, Kino was like shades of World at War. If you don't know, Kino was actually originally supposed to be a World at War map. It was supposed to be a DLC map.
Interesting.
And Activision said no because it was supposed to come out right around the time Modern Warfare 2 come out.
Really?
So Activision said no, it's going to be the launch map on the next one. Which is why it plays so much like a World at War map. Just finer tuned, right?
Interesting. I did not know that.
There was so much to it. Ascension was like the first real high round map.
Yeah.
So part of me wants to say Black Ops 1, but objectively, I don't think I can.
That's fair. I get it.
Shout out to Moon, though.
You, Moon. You pulled the real answer between the two of us. I pulled the answer I wanted.
And that's fair, right? That's fair. So, best game, he said, was World at War. This next one's going to be an easy. What do you think's the best zombies map?
The best zombies map?
Not your favorite.
Yeah, I know. This is where I have a real hard time. If I had to say, honestly, the best zombies map, man, that's really tough because, everybody, like, man, I know I'm like just stumbling all over myself here. Like, if I was going to say favorite, I would say Derice. Like, no problem. Like, Derice is by far my favorite. I don't know. Best zombies map, man? This is tough. I am going to... We're going to ruffle some feathers here. Transit was the best zombies map. Yeah, no, your face says it all. Transit is the best zombies map, and hear me out here. The like actual like bus that you took around made it to where you pretty much had to play with friends. So you are getting the idea of what really games is all about. Playing with friends and having a good time. You were able to troll your friends on that map and really just mess everything up and completely screw them, which made the game even more fun for me. I really liked the bank system where you could like bank points and stuff like that. Yeah. Now, I understand why it had its problems.
Very broken, by the way. Very broken.
I understand why, like, what its problems it's had, but I think it was another good idea, a good concept they had. So, Final answer, Transit.
He's wrong. And he's allowed to be.
He says this every episode, too.
But I think, and you know what? For the rest of them, spoiler alert, I'll say it again. I think Zack showed a little more bias there because he said it himself. It showed that this was a map that needed to be played with friends.
Yeah.
And I don't think a map can objectively be the best if it forces you to play with other people.
Okay, I mean, that's fair. There's probably a lot of people in the world who like to play solo zombies.
Yeah, exactly. What if your friends are at football practice?
I played a lot of solo transit zombies by myself when you were at football practice, okay?
And he was sad. He played farm. He played town.
Yeah.
Don't let him fool you.
I did.
He didn't play the whole thing. He played farm and town.
Yeah.
He did not deal with the denizens. He didn't want it.
No shame. No shame.
See, exactly.
All right, what about you?
I think the best map, man, it's hard to say. Shit, man.
I was really expecting Kyle to just say Moon. Honestly,
No,
Moon just to troll me, he was going to say Moon.
Moon's definitely one of my favorites. It's definitely not the best though, because it's a little on the glitchy side.
Sure.
One of my personal favorites, which I don't think a lot of people would have arguments with Der Eisendrache, which is
Yeah.
in Black Ops 3,
Yeah.
would be one of them. I think objectively, it's probably Origins though, which is the very end of Black Ops 2.
Okay. Yeah.
The one with the giant robots.
Yeah. No, I don't hate
Remember?
that.
I think that's probably objectively the best because it had the staffs. It was the first iteration of like different tiered wonder weapons like that.
Okay.
It was something you could play by itself. It was a huge map, tons of room, a lot of kind of little neat stuff,
Sure.
like getting on top of those little Humvees or whatever the hell those were.
Yeah.
The stabs were a cool thing. You could high around on that map. I think objectively, that or Der Eisendrache is probably the best. It's really hard for me to say.
Okay.
Because my bias says Der Eisendrache, because that's my favorite map in Black Ops 3 at least. And I'm going to objectively not say Doris like Zack. That's my favorite. I'm not going to say that though.
I don't think I could say it as much as I want to. There's no part of me that can rationally look at you and go, Doris is objectively the best map.
Yeah.
No.
If we did a tier list, that would be an A tier map. It'd be one of those that just misses out on the very top tier.
No, for sure.
But because of how much it introduced and how much it did, it has to be towards the top. But it can't be in the top. It has to be right there.
It is easily, because of what it did for its time, top 5 zombie maps of all time, in my opinion.
I would probably, I'd have to sit down and do the math, but somewhere in that ballpark, I wouldn't be.
If you have it outside your top 10, just turn the podcast off. We don't want you here. I'm kidding.
And at that point, say you're just a kid. You don't know what you're talking about.
Just say you didn't play zombies back in the day. It's okay.
My 9-month-old would put Doris in the top 10. My 9-month-old. Just want to let y'all know. He's asleep right now. He stirred over because he heard y'all talking shit in the comments. Y'all hear that? You waking my child.
I was like, he probably is. He's pissed off now. See what you've done?
Hey, I would be too, man. I would be too. Worst zombies map all time, objectively.
Worst zombies map, objectively?
Worst zombies map. Now, I want to preface this.
Transit. No, I'm just kidding. I'm kidding.
We can't say not, right? I feel like that's too mean to the map that started it all.
You cannot label the first map ever the worst map because there were so many things that have changed since then that they've improved upon the game.
Mm-hmm.
I am going to say that the worst map ever, man, the worst map ever, I am going to have to throw that one to Moon. Am I saying I dislike Moon the least? No. Do I think Kyle's having a stroke right now. Kyle tried to get me to play Moon as many times as he could when we were kids.
Last weekend.
It goes back to what you said. I think it's too glitchy. Like, I think from an overall perspective standpoint, like there was just too much that could just go wrong. So I think I think Moon would be my worst map.
And that's not the worst thing. And to be fair, I don't know that I would say glitchy again, but like the zero gravity with zombies.
Yeah.
Movement was weird, right? And it was in a Black Ops 1 engine.
Mm-hmm.
I don't like that take, but I'll let him have it because I've heard stranger things, but not by a lot.
I think I know what Kyle's gonna say, and I will be honest. You go ahead and you tell me what you think your worst map is, and I'll be honest and tell you if I was right or not.
Shi no Numa.
Yep, I fucking knew it. I knew it.
Here's the reason. Biggest reason, right? It's a weird in between of where Verrect was. And what Doris became.
Yep.
And by the way, you guys heard that right. He did just say he liked Verrect.
I love Verrect.
We both have a special love for one of the hardest and most awful maps.
I'm a masochist. I love Verrect.
Second map though, give it some love. It's a good map. I don't hate it. But Shi no Numa, the glitch where you can't have more than like 16 zombies in a round, and people are getting like round 1,000. It was just unpolished. And again, objectively, not a bad map, but it was the third map, and the one before it, really a hard map. That one, really easy, and then the one afterwards, just chef's kiss.
That's
I can't
1,000% correct. That is exactly what I was gonna say. Verrect and Shi no Numa and a Doris. That is the exact trifecta of what Doris is what they wanted, and they finally got there.
Yeah, and if it wasn't followed up by Doris. Or if it wasn't Verrect right before it. Like, if that was the second map, I'd probably go, you know what? This isn't that bad.
Yeah, I agree.
But the fact such a big glitch that they never fixed, and then they just went straight to Derice, a map that obviously shows they were capable of something that different.
Right.
Just too big of a difference, right?
No,
It's
I
it's
get
just
that.
too big of a jump for me.
I think Shino Numa would be towards the bottom of a lot of people's lists for a lot of the reasons we talked about. Like
Yeah.
I actually think that like from an objective point of view, it is low on people's lists.
Yeah. I wonder how many people are already mad at us.
Oh,
we're
dude.
we're 2 questions in.
There's so many people. Well, so many people. I don't know how many people are watching this, but I would imagine there's at least a couple people who have had this on and they were like, "No, to hell with these guys," and they turned it off like immediately after the first question.
Keep in mind, we're not zombies YouTubers. We've only played so much zombies in our life. Right? We're not,
It's more
we're
than it
not
should
Noah
be. but
J456. We're not, Tim Hansen. We're not any of that stuff, right?
No, absolutely not,
We're not professionals or nothing. Peep Zack's shirt, by the way, with
dude.
his wife's face on it.
Yeah, so we got Carly on this side. It's a Hawaiian shirt that Carly made me for Christmas. It's got Carly on one side, and it's got our cat on the other side. I wear it to all Flesh and Blood events.
And a bandana.
I do. Well, it's a headband. Get it right. You uncultured swine.
Same shit, bro.
No, get out of here, dude.
All right. What's the most underrated map in Zombies history, and why? Why do you think it's so underrated? Why do you think it's slept on?
The most underrated map in Zombies history?
Underrated map in Zombies history. And why do you think it's slept on?
Okay, so I have 2 answers here that are a tie for me that I'm going to say. The first one is Ascension. I think a lot of people like Ascension, but I think there's a lot of people who don't like Ascension. And I think Ascension would get a very middle of the road vibe from a lot of people. Yeah. So I think Ascension did a lot of things right by, again, introducing no perks. We went into like the whole ice and sickle phase or whatever it was on that map. I can't remember.
Yep.
Yeah. And so like, I think the game did a good job of like introducing a bigger map with new perks and giving you the ability to train, but also like providing some like certain camping spots with your friends and things like that. So if I had to pick a map that I think is the most underrated, I would say Ascension. The second one that is also like a really, really close second for me here, and I cannot remember the name of it to save my life, but it is the original map from Cold War. It's the original map from Cold War. The first one where they introduced the ammo boxes. And like you could buy chopper gunners and like
D Machine?
Yeah, Die Machine, D Machine, whatever it's called. And like that's where they brought us like the Big Suck and like all those things. Like, yeah, I knew I'd get Kyle's attention with that one. So this is where they brought us all those things. And
you say. And
I think even though like this map got a lot of hate, because of how easy it was to get to like, round 256 and actually like break the round time, like the round number or whatever. I think this game did a lot of things. Bringing the ammo box in was a very forward thinking thing that I think a lot of like Zombies games had missed out in the past. Like just having to hit the box over and over and over again. You really like changed the pacing and the speed of the comfort level. Being able to pause zombies in a multiplayer game was a massive win, in my opinion. That was the first time I remember that being a thing. And I think being able to like buy chopper gunners and these like predator missiles and things like that was also a massive win. Cashmere's were really cool. They were basically just like monkey bombs, but Cashmere's were cool. So I think that map did not deserve all the hate it got. So D Machine and Ascension are my 2 picks.
I think those are both really good shots. I think D Machine did go a little over the edge.
100%.
But honestly, during a COVID year, I think the map was fantastic. I think it did get a little too much hate. Ascension's a phenomenal pick. I'm surprised Zack pulled it, actually. Not to mention, first map to have an Easter egg where you can launch that rocket and actually blow it out of the sky with the radar.
Yep, absolutely.
Phenomenal pull.
Yeah, I like Ascension more than most.
One of the most underrated maps, Call of the Dead.
Okay.
The one with George Romero that follows you around with that light pole and beats the shit out of you.
Yeah.
Super hard map. A lot of people didn't like the challenge. A lot of people thought it was just too hard, right? There was this guy that follows you around so you couldn't camp, which at the time
I was one of those people.
That was like, because that was kind of a time where people were still camping. People didn't train nearly as much as they do now.
Yeah, training was becoming a thing at that point, but like it was not the meta it is now for sure.
But spaces were tight. There was this big boss-like thing, and the wonder weapons kind of sucked, but that made it more challenging. I think it was a fun map. I thought it was a great idea, special cast. And And right, that little Easter egg with the original cast,
Yeah.
where they will talk to you through that steel door, fucking awesome.
It
Even though it's such a
was
small thing, it tickled my brain in the parts that needed to be tickled.
it's a cool map for sure. Like, it ticked a lot of the boxes that I think we were kind of missing from the zombie community. I think a lot of us were used to specific rounds, and like, we were all getting into like that rhythm of zombies, and I think that map was so much more difficult that it added a like real level of intricacy to the game that nobody had ever introduced, and it did get a lot of hate because of it, because nobody wanted the difficulty. A lot of people like to play zombies to turn their brain off, and I understand that. There's nothing wrong with that. Play games at your own speed, but it was definitely its own thing. And I'm not gonna lie, I really like that you picked that map. I think that's like a really like, I think that's better than Ascension, to be honest, as a pick there.
And Ascension's one of those that's like would be like a B tier map on most people's list. It'd be a C or a B tier map. It'd be a decent map, maybe a touch too easy. Call of the Dead's one of those that got so much hate because of how hard it was.
Yep.
It was one of the first ones that changed the entire pace of the game. And if that got revamped in today's Call of Duty, that'd be a fantastic map.
People would love it. People would love it.
Part of it was just when it come out, and rest in peace, George Romero.
It's ahead of its time.
Definitely, it was ahead of its time. Got overhated. I think if that had come out in Black Ops 2, for Christ's sakes, I think that would have been better than Transit. First of all,
without a doubt,
I think that would have been a vastly more well received map.
Yep.
I don't think there's even any question about that.
100%.
So we talk about slept on maps, best and worst, right? Our personal favorites, right?
Yeah.
I'm gonna put you in a hypothetical here.
All right, hit me with it.
Call of Duty comes to you and they said, listen, we want to remaster a map for Zombies Chronicles. We want to revamp it. We want to remake it in your image. What are you picking? And what is one big change you're making to the map? Go.
They're going to remaster a map.
And they're going to let you change one major thing on the map.
But everything else is basically going to be identical.
More or less. Kind of like a Zombies Chronicle-ish style. Or like that Black Ops 1 bundle they did. Where they redid the first few maps.
This is interesting.
Do you need me to go?
Yeah, go ahead. Let me tank on this one for a minute. This is a perplexing question.
I got a good one.
All right.
I am bringing a map some love that I think needs it. I also think is overhated, but I think maybe not overhated because I think it's a map that bites a lot of people in the ass and never got a revamp in the way that like D Machine did.
Okay.
And that we were hoping so. I would want to revamp Verduct.
Okay. Yeah.
And here's the change I want to make because the guns were good.
Yep.
The guns were fine. Right. World at War guns. So whatever.
Sure.
Give it a new gun set, like a new game, whatever, right? What I want them to do. Big change. Changing the whole map, right? Because map very small, very cramped, not a lot of room to move, right?
Yeah.
You saw me train a fucking pole, right? Like a
literally
pillar. I want them to make a door to the courtyard.
Interesting.
And that's all I want.
Like out on the bottom, the open layer out on the bottom there that we could never get to.
Be able to open the stairs and be able to go from either side of those stairs, from either side of it, and open up that middle part of the map.
Interesting.
I think that gives you a little more training room. It still probably feels pretty claustrophobic, but I think that makes that map more playable, more fun, and exposes it to more people. It was the first map to introduce the box, right? Not the box, perks. Have the perks, fix the super sprinter zombies that were in World at War. I think you have a phenomenal map. A very easy, not easy, but a very simple one, but a really nice map.
No, I agree. I think that's like actually a pretty cool change. That's something I would be interested in playing because, I already liked Verrucht a lot. Mostly because, for the punishment, anyway, we'll get into my personal life later.
We all love it behind the Springfield off the wall.
Right? Yeah, but I mean, I actually really like that change. Like having that open area where you could still get punished for training for too long could be a really cool concept. I think that's pretty neat. That's kind of cool. I would take Derice. And I know that we're kind of going back to like my favorite map here, and let's just stick with me for a minute.
That's fine. Go ahead.
We're going to take Derice, and we're going to add the power-ups. Fuck, I'm forgetting the names of them. My God, I'm having a stroke. No, the perks. God almighty. We're going to take the perks, except we're going to add the Wonder Fizz machine and you can buy every perk that's ever been in a Call of Duty before.
Okay, so you want, and let me guess, you want it on the catwalk.
No, I actually immediately thought of where I want it. So most people they train like the Thompson was a common training route, and you bought ammo off the wall with it.
Yeah.
I want to put it in the MP40 room, not next to the teleporter. I want to put it when you walk into the MP40 room, I want to put it in the right corner against the wall.
Like where the trench gun's at, more or less.
Yeah, I want to put it beside the trench gun, basically. And I want there to be the Wonder Fizz machine on Doris. I don't want you to change how guns are pack-a-punched. I don't want you to change, like, the fact that you can't just buy ammo from a box, that you have to buy specific gun ammo off of a wall. Just add the Wonder Fizz machine so that you can have, like, the Super Sprint and, PH Flopper and, like, all those other random perks that you didn't have back then. I think it would make the map really interesting and a lot more entertaining.
But you would keep the perk limit.
Yeah, you can only have 4. You can't have all of them. You just get the machine to pick 100%. So you can still only have 4 perks.
That's interesting. That's definitely something Zach's doing for the child in him. But honestly, just because you get to keep 4 perks, I'm here kind of for the chaos.
Yeah, if you had all the perks, I don't like it. But I think having the 4 perk limit, but having to pick between all of the perks in the game from ever is a cool concept.
Activision, get on this, because I gotta tell you, I want to do this with Zach, and I want him to be really confused why I'm running Tombstone, Vulture's Aid, and Stamina Up, and that's what I'm running, and he's really confused why he's being
the fact that
so slowly.
None of them were Jug.
Yeah, and none of them were quick revived. I want you to be really confused to why I'm getting my ass ate the whole time.
Listen, I did not expect you to go quick revive. Okay, like that's fine.
That's fair.
That's fine. I like that question. That's a good one, dude.
I'm glad I got some good ones on here for you.
Yeah, I can tell.
Spent like a whole 22 minutes at work.
Kyle's really amping up his questions since our first episode here. I'm really liking how we're taking these like very what I would call some controversial things and talking about them.
That's kind of the whole point, right? If you guys, I'm trying somewhat hard to get these done.
I love it, dude.
Make sure you look at my channel link in the description below if you want more stuff like this. And make sure you look up Zack's too. He's down there too. But me first. No, I'm just kidding. I love you. You can cut that out.
Oh, I'm definitely cutting that part
out. All right, so we talked about it, right? Got the remasters, right? Got the revamps like we want it, right?
Okay.
How do you feel about Easter eggs in zombies? And more specifically,
okay,
wonder weapons being attached to
them. So I mean, I think some of the Easter eggs are cool. Like when we talk about Easter eggs, like I think of, like the rocket and the ray gun on Ascension, and stuff like that. And I think of on Doris, I think of being able to hit all of the beakers or whatever and turn on the song or whatever it is, like, random stuff like that.
Little things.
I don't think the Easter egg should change the complexity of the game, but I really like that they have Easter eggs in the game, like the zombie dance from Cold War, like, stuff like that's really fun to me. So I think they're a positive for the game. It makes it very fun for the people who want to race to find these things, like content creators when the game comes out. It gives them something to do, and it also gives something, for old putts like us to do and fart around on the map and just watch the zombies dance. And plus Carly loves it. So if I said that I'm taking them out, Carly might try to kill me in my sleep. So
how do you feel about doing things like, more specifically, like having to do certain things to unlock a wonder weapon? Example, like Firebase Z, how you have to build the wonder weapon.
I love that.
Okay.
It was
so you're not opposed to that.
So much like the George Romero map, it was a frustrating concept for a lot of people, I think, originally. Like Firebase Z, I don't think was received very well by most. But I really
think it was super hated.
It wasn't hated, but I just don't think people didn't like the complexity of it. How you have to find these different, tapes and recordings to follow the story inside of the thing. And, you have to build the wonder weapon. I don't think a lot of people like that kind of stuff. I think a lot of people, even some of the younger generation, I would say, and maybe I'm wrong, like the idea of, spinning the box and training zombies and running around mindlessly for a couple hours one afternoon.
Yeah.
I really like that idea. The complexity of that map was really cool. Having to get the pieces on D Machine to get the Big Suck, having to build the wonder weapon on Firebase C was a massive W, and it gives people who don't just want to mindlessly do something all the time the ability to expand into the game further, because you could still get the wonder weapon like randomly from the box and from like those challenges or whatever, but
Yeah.
but like most of the people were building it, and so I think it's a net positive for the game.
I would probably agree. I will say, I do think some of these Easter eggs, kind of like with Firebase E, right? Outside of just getting the stuff to build the wonder weapon, the
Mm-hmm.
Reiki. First of all, how glitchy that Easter egg was.
Yeah.
Wild. Outlandish, right? How god awful and glitchy that was with the mimics and getting those tapes, and they were never full for that brief period or however long that was.
Yeah, in the very beginning, it was very tough.
Wild. It was so annoying. I do like some of the stuff being attached to them, but I don't like that being like the sole way that you can get stuff like that. But stuff like you said, like getting the die shockwave, which by the way is the big suck. If anybody's really curious and hasn't pasted together,
Yeah.
we call it the big suck, and we'll tell you that story later. Um, I don't hate it, but I do think Easter eggs as a whole have gotten pretty distracting. Um, Now, again, as an old head, right? For me, I'm the definition of just want to run and do zombies for a couple hours. Just la 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 la. You're not here anymore. Oh
Yeah.
no, I'm dead. Right? That's more or less what I want. So I think some of these more complicated ones definitely are too much for me. How do you feel?
I mean, some of the more complex ones are, they can be tilting for a lot of people, especially if it's someone who just wants to play zombies for an hour and just turn their brain off. But I think if you make them in a way to where like you don't have to do them, like if you give people, even if it's a like harder to pull gun, like if you could pull the Reiki from the box, which I don't remember if you could or not. I don't think you
You can.
could. Oh, you
I
could.
think you
Okay.
can.
So if you can pull it even at a very low pull rate, I think it's fine. But if you're forcing someone to do this very complex Easter egg to even be able to enjoy the gun once, I
Mhm.
don't like that. But I do like them having them in the game as a like side quest, quote unquote, there.
Yeah.
Just something to like entertain other groups of people. I think they're good, but you can't force people to do them.
I would tend to agree. My biggest example is like in Origins with the stabs. You
Yeah.
can't pull those, or with Der Eisendrache
Yeah.
with the bows. You can't pull those. You have to do those. And I
So
still to this day have to look up the codes to this shit. Like have to
oh,
look up things to
same.
half the time because I don't remember how to do half of them.
I don't know anybody that doesn't at this point in our life. Like, and that's a prime example. Have them in the game, let people do them if they want, but I think you should make them available through the box.
Yeah. So what was the point that you thought that Easter eggs became a little too much? Where's that tipping point for you?
So, like Origins and stuff like that was again like I didn't play a lot of like Black Ops 2 and Black Ops 3. That was kind of like I don't know, like out of video games phase, I guess. But
Mhm.
the Reiki situation, that's the most recent one I can remember being very upset because I
Okay.
mean, me and you and Carly tried so many times to do that complete storyline Easter egg, and we just never did it because it took like 40 or 50 rounds to do the whole thing. And then even sometimes we would play 25 rounds and then the freaking tapes wouldn't work. And it was
Yeah.
just like, why? So that was the first time I can like actively remember being upset. If you're going to put Easter eggs in the game, like respectfully, just make them work for God's sakes. Like let me do them in peace. And maybe don't make it take 50 rounds to do them for Christ's sake.
Right. I think
But
that's fair.
yeah.
I think the fall off for me was BO2.
Okay.
Um, but it has to be early BO2. So if you want to just take out, because I think Transit and Die Rise specifically are the two maps where I'm like the Easter eggs are getting not complicated, but they're just, I mean, it's just obnoxious how much you have to run around on Transit or Die Rise, how easy it is just to fall off the side of the map thanks to the Wonder Weapon, which was one of the best, probably one of the best Wonder Weapons, and probably the best before it got nerfed.
Sure.
I think that's probably where it got obnoxious, but like in stuff like Buried and later on, it wasn't nearly as obnoxious. So I'd
Right.
probably say BO4 is where it started getting obnoxious. And the reason I'm saying BO4 is I didn't like the story,
Okay.
right? Because it took a whole different set of characters. and kind of introduced them and kind of went back to some old characters.
Mm-hmm.
BO4 is where the zombies line starts to end for me. For some love. Zack said BO2 was kind of his. He played a little bit, but not as much. BO4 is it for me.
Okay. I mean, yeah, that's
where
fair.
I wasn't getting that love from it. But from Easter eggs to wonder weapons, right? Call of Duty has done some amazing things in the game mode. And they've done some very creative things.
100%.
What is your favorite wonder weapon all time?
Dude,
you hit the box. What's the one thing you want to see?
You already know the answer to this question, bro. We have been playing games together so long. It's the Wonder Waffle, dude. The Wonder Waffle was peak wonder weapon experience. When it came out, you were able to shock yourself in close proximity and other people to make you one hit even through Jug. That was a peak design. It was a very powerful weapon that would lace up the zombies and torch them. But man, how many times did you or I kill all of us because we were trapped in a corner and I made all of us one tap? And like that was peak experience with wonder weapons, in my opinion.
That's fair. To this day, I'm still pretty confident that was a glitch that they did that.
Oh yeah.
But regardless, I don't think that's far fetched. Favorite wonder weapon.
I think I know what yours is. Go ahead. I'll be honest again.
My favorite wonder weapon. Man, Thunder Gun.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Not what I was gonna say.
What were you gonna say?
I was gonna say the bows. I figured it was the bows, to be honest.
No, I do really like the bows. Man, I fucking hate getting those bows. I fucking hate having to get them. Pardon my French, everybody. The Thunder Gun is the Wonder Waff, but better. It's a little harder to conserve your ammo because there's less of it. It feels. I'm pretty sure. Maybe no, yeah. There's definitely less ammo of it.
There's way less ammo in the Thunder Gun.
There's less risk, and it's definitely a better oh shit factor.
Mm-hmm.
Like, oh shit, I pulled this out. You can shock zombies with a Wonder Waffle, but their bodies will still stay there, or there'll be some kind of collision. You can't really move a whole lot. Then you've wasted 4 shots all of a sudden. Thunder Gun doesn't happen. Whatever's there is not there anymore. It's like a tornado in a trailer park. It's just out there.
It was very powerful, and I liked the gun a lot, especially on Kino. Like when it was introduced, it was really cool.
Yeah, it was very, very cool. What do you think is the most underappreciated weapon in zombies? Now we can go wonder weapon or individual weapon. I'll let you decide.
Most underappreciated weapon. All right, man. We're gonna go way back here. We're gonna go way back. The most underappreciated weapon was the flamethrower. Like way back in the day, the flamethrower was actually giga-busted. I loved having that as a secondary when we were playing OG zombies because when you got insta-kill, you just absolutely torched them. So I think people slept on the flamethrower too much as a secondary.
That's fair enough. I don't think that's the worst pick in the world. I would say the most underappreciated weapon in zombies, and part of it's for how many games it was in, and the fact it was always available. MP40.
Okay, yeah, the MP40 was awesome,
and the fact that you could pack a punch in and still buy ammo off the wall for it in a relatively convenient place in most games. The fact that it stuck around. I think MP40's got to be up there. Part of me wants to say like Thompson, but I feel like that got plenty of love in Durice.
It did, for sure. Like it being in the easiest spot to train with on the map, like made the Thompson very loved. But yeah, no, I mean, I agree. The MP40 was cool because like it had very good early game plausibility. And then after you pack-a-punched it, you could still train with that gun into the 20s and 30s. Like pretty handily, so.
Yeah, pretty relatively comfortably, right?
Yeah, for sure.
We're gonna stay on weapons.
Okay.
For a brief period. Only about one more. What do you think is the worst wonder weapon?
The worst wonder weapon?
Yes. I know what mine is.
Man,
mine's a relatively easy pick.
It's really hard to think about any of them being the worst wonder weapon.
Oh, there's a couple.
Man, I don't know. Go ahead. I gotta think. I gotta think on this one for a second.
And part of it is the map, right? Part of it is the map, and this gun was obviously not made for this map. This map was made for the Thunder Gun to be the wonder weapon. It didn't work out that way. It's the Winter's Howl. The one from 5.
Dude, I don't even... Oh, from 5.
The Frost, the gun that basically...
Yeah, the President's map.
Had collision, and that cramped ass map. 5 is an overhated map, by the way. 5 is not as bad. It's a hard map, but it's not nearly as
I
bad.
liked 5 a lot.
5 was fun. But the Winter's Howl is that one. It's either that or what's the one from Call of the Dead that turns like them into like CII agents or whatever the hell it is. It's it's got to be one of those.
I was like, dude, some of these are so like obscure that I can't even remember them. Like I blanked them from my memory.
Mm-hmm.
Like I don't even know that I could pick the worst wonder weapons because I only remember the ones I like. Like I'm not even joking. I only remember the ones I like. So I'll tell you what, when you told me the Winter's Howl, I do remember that one. We played so much 5 in Black Ops, so I do remember that one. So I'm gonna steal your answer and I'm gonna go with that.
Honorable mention to the original Wonder Waffle, solely for taking Juggernaut from you. Solely for taking that, it deserves a mention.
Sure,
for taking away your Juggernaut,
just because you could like make yourself one tab.
Yeah, not a bad gun by any means. If they fix that, that would be top 2 or top 3 guns I'd ever pick in my life.
Yeah.
But it does.
Yeah, no,
so
for sure.
At least a mention on this. We're gonna shift from weapons, right? Well, I'm sure we'll mention them in the next 1 or 2. What's your best memory from zombies?
Okay.
We got to have some really stupid ones here.
There have been some crazy ones. I'm going to be honest. There's a couple that I can't talk about because we're recording. But please keep in mind we were kids. But the one that stands out to me, and again, I'm going to tell a you story here for just a minute because this is like,
oh shit,
this is one of my favorite stories. Like, this might have been like one of the coolest zombie moments we ever had. We were playing under Reese. This was just a few years ago, by the way. This was like when Carly and I were dating. We're all playing under Reese, and Carly is running around. Well, actually, that's going to be the second one. I have a secondary story I'm going to tell. But the first one, okay. Kyle is running around training, and we're all sitting on the catwalk, just like kind of like camping up there, you know, Betty Farm, all that bullshit. And Kyle is running around. He traps himself where the original box spawns for about 2 seconds. And he goes, oh, fuck, I'm dead. And then, out of nowhere, he runs through like 12 zombies. There was no window there, and he just managed to get out of them, and he goes, I'm a god! And that is like one of my favorite moments ever, because, I mean, I was already cooking a monkey to come get you so that I could come pick you up. Like, that is where we were at in the process. What about you?
Secondary story. You want to go ahead and secondary story?
Oh, sure. So, you know, the word busted generally means like it's broken. It's so overpowered. It's crazy. God. Carly was running around with a shotgun one night on Derice. And if you've played with, you know, shotguns, you know that after like round 7, they're trash. So Carly's running around with an unpack-a-punch shotgun on like round 20, trying to like train zombies. And she goes, this shotgun's busted. And everybody in the lobby stops and is like, what fucking shotgun did you pick up? What broken shotgun do you have? She meant it was terrible. And so like, it's just like, it was just such a like nuanced, like, you know, Curly was new to like, you know, games and zombies. So it was just really funny.
Carly showed her age at that point.
100%.
For reference of the first story that he told, the part that I got stuck in was the spot where the box originally spawns in Derice. And I backed myself into a corner, and I backed up to the other corner, and I pushed back in, and I came out somehow. And I went, I'm dead. I'm not dead. I'm alive. I'm a god.
Yeah, it was ridiculous.
That was an amazing clip. I feel like I still have that attached to my Xbox somewhere.
You probably do.
That's fantastic. Man, that is a really good one. That is one of my favorites. I also have 2.
Okay.
One of these is a you story.
Oh, all right. Here we go.
These are actually probably a you story.
All right.
So I'll go with the more recent one first, right? So when I discovered the Big Suck in D Machine, I knew how to get it through the little, you know, the little story or whatever, right?
Yeah.
So I got it relatively often, right? And nobody else ever really cared for it. And nobody else really wanted to try it. So I let Zack try it, and he was like, yeah, whatever. And so a couple days go by, and I get it. And I just, not thinking about it, I just asked his girlfriend at the time, now wife, I said, Carly, do you want the Big Suck?
I will never forget this as long as I live, dude.
And they just go, what? And Zack goes, you know, anybody else asking my girlfriend that? And she just says, but it's Kyle.
It's Kyle. bro, we say that. Carly and I say that when Kyle is not around to this day when we tell stories.
Secondly to that, and I'm actually going to let Zach retell this story.
Oh, God.
Because when I say this, he'll know exactly what this is. Do you want to see something cool?
Oh my God, dude. This might be the most trolly thing I have ever done to Kyle.
I'm still mad at him, by the way. Actually, right now, I'm more mad at him. 28
years, about to be 29 years here coming up in a few months of us being in each other's lives might be the trolliest shit I've ever done. Back in the day, on the original, like, Knocked map, there was the glitch where you could, like, sit up in the little crack in that, like, in the wall, the corner there. Yeah, underneath the stairs, you could sit in that little crack there, and it, the zombies would not come towards you. But you had to, like, down yourself in a specific spot, looking up, and then the other person just hid in the corner, and all the zombies would run there, and you infinite flamethrower them. Kyle and I were doing that glitch when we were kids. I mean, this was original zombies. Like, no other maps were even out at this point. And we were trying to, like, see how many rounds we could just sit there and get to. I'm sitting with the flamethrower in the wall. It's round 27. And I know this because it still shows round 27 on my Xbox account.
Round 27. I was wondering if he'd remember when he screwed me.
We're sitting there at like 3 o'clock in the morning, and I go, "Hey, Kyle, you want to see something cool?" And he goes, "Zach, I swear to God." And I jump out of the wall, and we die within like 5 seconds. Like 5 seconds, we were dead. Dude, I forget that's even a story until you bring it up.
That is such a fun one. That's one that I'm still mad at you for.
It's a classic, dude.
But that was, oh man, that's so funny looking back on that though. That's absolutely wild. And now every once in a while, I still quote that back to him when I want to do something stupid. That makes this next one really easy. What's the most game-breaking glitch you've ever seen in zombies? Game-breaking.
I mean, like, actually game-breaking?
Not, let's just say broken. Something that maybe got patched.
I mean,
maybe something different didn't.
I think so one of the more, like, notable ones that I think, like, didn't necessarily break the game but made it really fun or interesting, I would say, was the 3-gun glitch on Durice. The 3-gun glitch was really neat. It didn't make you invincible, but it added this, like, level to it. The next piece I'm going to add to this was on Durice, in the room where Quick Revive was. You could have someone stand against that pillar, and you could have someone down in the, we called it the womb back in the day, but that little room downstairs, underneath that, somebody could sit down there, the person would step off of the wall, and the zombies would come running down the stairs at them. And you could just waylay the zombies with the MG42, the Browning, the ray gun, whatever you had at the time. And then when they wanted it to stop, the other person would step back up against the wall. I think that might actually be the most absurd glitch of all time.
I think that's definitely one of them. The womb strat. I'll never forget that. And the theme song every time dogs would come on, where we would all just pile into the womb.
To the womb, to the womb, to the womb, to the womb.
Yeah, and again, dumb shit we did as kids, and dumb shit we'd still probably do today if we ever.
It's like, bro, if we played Durice right now, I would say that shit.
Yeah. I would probably agree with the womb spot. I hate to disagree with Zach. If I wanted to go something else, it would be the 16 zombie count by solo Shidonuma.
Yeah, that was stupid.
Which we played so rarely by ourselves, by the way, that we didn't know that was a thing until we were adults. Because we never played zombies by ourselves, at least not that map.
I think a good honorable mention is the one from Knocked as well, sitting under the stairs. Like,
yeah, that's that. Yeah,
you had to have the flamethrower to make it work, but I think that was a solid honorable mention.
Yeah, 100%. For damn sure. So glitch that lets you camp. What do you think your favorite strategy was as far as zombies goes? Was it some favorite strategy that we've done? Let's say. Or that maybe you've done by yourself.
So, I mean, obviously, like, training is just the meta now. Like, so training is just such an easy part of the meta. But, you know, when we were growing up, camping was really all it was. Like, you know, training wasn't really a thing when zombies first came out. Like, at least not for us, it wasn't. One of my favorite strategies was when we would sit on the catwalk. So between the two of us, Kyle and I played zombies together under Reese. I can't even tell you how many hours. Halo Wars and zombies as children. I mean, the amount of countless hours I could never get back of my life.
Too damn.
So we used to do the Betty farm, in the very back of the catwalk, so you could back up and get bailed out if you needed to. And we both had monkeys. We would throw them out the window and yada, yada, yada. But we used to sit on the catwalk about 75% of the way back, and one of us would stand in front of the other one, and the first person would shoot and then crouch, and then the second person would shoot. And we would do this over and over and over again. And honestly, it's probably nostalgia, but that's one of my favorite strategies we've ever had because it was such a fun two-person strategy.
Yeah. That's a pretty good one. And actually, my favorite strategy is actually going to go into the glitch category now that I'm thinking about it.
Okay.
Because I don't want to just sit here and echo Catwalk. Catwalk is the most nostalgic, but it was not my favorite.
Sure.
Endurance.
Okay.
The original one. If you went, not the Thompson side, if you went the trench gun side, you could turn on the power and you could sit on the other side of the bridge where double tap was.
Yep.
And if you didn't go past a certain point, zombies didn't come from behind you. So they come through those two windows and across the bridge.
Yeah.
And that was it.
You had to not go into the room, I think. If you went into the room back there, they came through the walls.
They started coming up behind you.
Yeah.
But when that was a thing, I think that was fantastic. Some type of camping was always the most fun for me.
Sure.
Even the camping in D Machine
Mm-hmm.
was awesome and nutty. I'll never forget the first run we did that too. The one on the bridge is still going to take my favorite, but the first time we did it, I was like, guys, listen, there's this cool spot that apparently zombies spawn that much faster. Let's try it. And everybody was so overwhelmed, and the round was over in like 90 seconds.
It was really cool though to experience that.
It was really cool, and it was like, man, we can't do this anymore. As soon as there was a reprieve, and then the round changed, and they go, do we stay? Maybe I don't know. Maybe we'll try it again. Maybe we see what happens.
The bridge glitch under Reese was really cool. I honestly forgot about that one because we didn't do it very often. We didn't have 4 people very often, but it was really cool.
And very underrated.
Yeah, I agree.
For damn sure. So this brings us to the end. We got hot takes.
All right.
Hot takes is how we're ending it. Zach, what you got?
Man. So I'm going to be honest. I've thought about this one multiple times throughout the week because I knew this was coming. It's like an every episode kind of question. And
you will always have a hot take, some form of hot take ready.
This has been a real tough one for me because a lot of the hot takes I would have, like we've answered in other questions. So my hot take, and this was something that I put in my back pocket in case like we had to have something like crazy to make the episode stand out. The PPSH is the best gun that ever existed. That's my hot take. World at War PPSH 41 was the best gun classifying by time to ever exist.
I don't think that's wild. I think I wanted to make sure that we specified.
Yeah.
Because I knew what you meant. Because I'm pretty sure they added it, and I don't know if it was Cold War or if it was like one of the other.
There was another one, yeah. I think it was Vanguard.
I know it was in Vanguard too, but I swear I think they added it in Cold War at some point.
They might have.
And it wasn't as good. But the Reaper.
Yep.
I mean,
nutty.
Screw the Browning. If I got the choice between that and an MG,
you put an ammo box on the catwalk, you'd sit there all day.
You would sit there all damn day.
Yep.
Which is exactly why they didn't do it.
100%.
And why they probably never will.
Even if they remaster it, they'll never add ammo boxes to that game. Not that mad.
And I wouldn't even hate if they did. They just can't put it there.
Yeah, they'd have to put like one in the spawn room or something like that.
They put one in the spawn room. You can put one like by the teleporters, but you can't put it there. You have to be able to get your ass off that spot.
100%.
All right, here's hot take.
All right.
Zombies has definitely not always been perfect. But every Treyarch made game has been decent. There's not been a true zombies fall off up until Black Ops 6.
Okay. I mean, I don't hate that. I don't hate that at all. I mean, like there's a lot of really good zombie maps and games, and they've innovated really well. So I don't hate that.
And it's important to point out again, the Treyarch games is why I say that, but I mean, all the way from Cold War, which got way more hate than it deserved.
Cold War Zombies was great, bro. Everybody
Even
can.
Black Ops 4, that got some hate, still had some decent
Sure.
maps and some cool ideas to it.
Yep.
Still an experience that you'd find fun from. I mean, all of them. Treyarch has not made a bad zombies game, and zombies has probably carried their franchise through a lot of them.
I'm
Yeah,
genuinely convinced that like zombies is some of the only reasons that Call of Duty have had as many sales as they've had. I think a lot of people enjoy the relaxation part of it. And I can speak to that. You know, in a lot of the most recent games, we played more zombies than we have anything.
mm-hmm.
So
outside of Outbreak, zombies is not falling off. Outbreak was the fall off though. All right. Well, that's all the questions I got for you, Zack. Is there anything you want to add on here?
No, I think we've talked about zombies and drug it through the mud and praised it kind of enough here. Guys, thanks so much for hanging out with us. Hope you guys enjoy the episode. If you do, make sure you like, subscribe, leave a comment. Let us know what you think. I'm sure we've said a lot of things that have rubbed people the wrong way, so throw it down in the chat. And remember, I'm AgroBlaze96, and this is
The Woodshed. Thank you guys for coming by. We'll see y'all next time.